Okay, this section is on comparing forms, and it goes together with the video on expanding, so hopefully you practiced that one very well. And you notice that of the three forms that we have, factor, standard, and vertex, we get the zeros from factored form and the shape. From standard form, you remember we get the shape and we get the y-intercept, and from vertex form we get the most, and that is the shape also, plus the vertex, plus the axis of symmetry, and the optimal value. So how do we use this expanding from going to vertex to standard and expanding from factor to standard to get some information? So we're going to use it by sketching some functions. So let's give this a shot. Now we're going to try to go from factor to standard. So you can tell that this is factored form because there are two brackets multiplying each other, and that gives us the zeros. -3 and 2. So let's mark those. So -3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, let me use the blue one. -3 and +2. And we know that those are the zeros because those are the numbers for x that makes this whole value go to 0, and the height, which is the y, is at 0. So we got that to start with, but we can't draw or sketch a parabola with only that. We know that it opens up because there's an a is equal to 1, and we know that means it's a smile. But let's see if we can get the y-intercept by expanding it. So if we expand it, we can tell that x times x is going to give us, well, x squared. And we know that 3 times -2 is going to give us -6. And then we know that there's the middle term in here, which is going to be the 3x and the -2x. So 3x minus 2x that we can do in our heads is just x. So you can recognize this as being standard form. X squared plus x minus 6. And that -6 is what gives us the y-intercept. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now with these 3 points, we can sort of sketch our parabola. Kind of sketch it. That's not a pretty one. We know the axis of symmetry is going to be a little bit on the left side because the zero is on that side. Okay, let's see this, then I can be able to write better. -2, x minus 2, x plus 1. What can we tell right away? Well, we can tell that the zeros are 2 and -1. So that goes there. What else do we know? Well, we know that it opens down because it's a frown, and it's a stretch, so it's going to be a little skinnier than that one. But that's all we know. So let's see if we can expand this and find out what the y-intercept is. Different from this is that there's a number in front that's not 1. So how do I multiply it? My best chance would be, my recommendation to you guys would be to multiply the two brackets first, and then your answer, multiply it by -2. Don't multiply the -2 twice. If you want to multiply the -2 in here, and that whole answer times x plus 1, that would work. But it's easier to do it in your head if you just do these two brackets first, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to have my -2, and then the answer for this. So that's x times x gives me x squared. -2 times plus 1 is still -2, and that's at the end. And my middle term, it's this. -2x plus 1x. So -2x plus 1x is just -x. Okay. And now we'll expand the -2 into the bracket by multiplying by every term. So -2 times x squared is -2 x squared. -2 times -x gives us plus 2x. And -2 times -2 gives us plus 4. And let's see if this matches with our prediction. So we said that our y-intercept is going to be 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which means it's over there. And that makes sense because it will make this open down like we had expected. So we don't know where the vertex is, and that's a problem. But you know, just to get a sketch, I guess we can get from this is 1, from this is 1. So there'll be another point, a mirror point right here, because the axis of symmetry goes right in through the middle. And the parabola will look something like this. 1, 2, 1. Yeah, something like that. I'm hoping you're drawing better than I am. Okay, so that was factored to standard. Very similar when we do vertex to standard. We'll start by having the vertex. So that's vertex here is going to be -4 and 2. So -4 and 2. So it's down there. Now the numbers are going to work a little higher, so I make my sketch go up by 5s. And let's see if we can expand this. Well, that's x plus 4 squared, so we can use that binomial formula. Remember that we learned from the last video or in class. And that's the square of the first plus twice the square of the first times the second plus the square of the second, which it takes a lot longer to say than to actually do. So the square of the first is x squared. Twice the first times the second, well, x times 4 is 4x. 4x twice is 8x. And now the square of the second is just 4 squared, which is 16. That's this part expanded, and now we got the plus 2. So plus 2. And now we can put the 16 and the 2 together, and we're done. X squared plus 8x plus 18. And that is standard form. Therefore, in standard form, this represents the y-intercept. And the y-intercept at 18, we're going to think it's right over here. And if we need to sketch this, well, that's the vertex, so that's the axis of the curve too. It opens up because that's a 1, so I know there's going to be a mirror point over on that side, which I'm not going to be able to fit. But the parabola will be something like this. And it'll escape on that side. What if we have an a value that's not 1? Well, it's got a -2 over here. So it's the same idea. Let's try, it'll be one more step to expand. But I can tell that the vertex here is +3 and 10. So +3 and 10 would be right over there. That's my vertex. This thing will open down. So I know that my axis of the curve. Sorry, my axis is symmetry. My axis of symmetry, it'll be going vertically like this. And let's see if we can get the y-intercept by expanding it. So I've got 2 terms, and I gotta be careful with this. That plus makes this into 2 sections. And I'm gonna have to add that +10 at the very end. So I need to take care of this first, and then the -2. So if we remember this formula, that's going to be -2. Now it's square of the first is x squared. Twice the first times the second. So -3 times x is -3x. Twice is -6x. And -3 squared is +9. And let's not forget about that +10. Now we need to multiply this inside. -2x squared. -2 times -6 is plus 12x. And -2 times 9 gives me -18. And then we got the +10. I'm running a little bit out of room here, but I need to put in the -8 plus 10 together. So just gonna squeeze it in. -2x squared plus 12x minus 8. And that -8 is gonna be our y-intercept. So 5 and minus 8 would be somewhere around there. Now I know that because 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because that's the axis of symmetry, I should have another point, mirror point over here. So our parabola will look something like this. Something like that. And as ugly as my sketches have been today, the sketches are usually good for figuring out if we are on the right track. So when I get my y-intercept, if I get my answer to be 12, I know that that doesn't match the fact that this opens down. And sometimes it can save myself from making some silly mistakes.